Hello and welcome to day 3 of Beth's book recommendations. And this evening I am recommending to you The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne. This story is about a little boy. It's 9 years old, so it's suitable really for students in years 7 and upwards, right up to kind of adult age really. But even students in year 7 can have an appreciation of this main character, Bruno, and his growing awareness of the situation around him. The story's set in Germany during World War II. Bruno is the son of the commandant of a concentration camp. And he's kind of trying to make sense of the world around him. And it's his lack of understanding about the situation that provides the main kind of themes running through the story, really. So a couple of examples of his lack of understanding, for instance, and an opportunity for the author to have a little bit of an ironic joke, are that he calls Hitler, instead of the Führer, he calls him the Fury, which is quite a good misunderstanding of his title. And also he calls the place that they've been sent to, where they've had to move for his dad's job, he calls it Out With, because for him it's a place of isolation. He goes there, he doesn't have any friends, has to leave all his school friends behind, and that is particularly upsetting and isolating for him. His parents and his sister are all sort of in their own worlds, really, dealing with their own issues, especially his mother, who clearly, doesn't feel very comfortable in the role that's been thrust upon her, but is putting up a brave face for the children. And as a reader, you can see that, but obviously Bruno doesn't pick up on it at all because of his age. And clearly this is Auschwitz, but he's misheard it and doesn't really understand where he is. Throughout the novel, we get lots of clues about the unhappiness of all the members of the family, really. But again, Bruno isn't really sensitive to what's going on around him. Because he's so isolated, and because the rest of the family are preoccupied with their own worries, he goes off exploring on his own, and he finds himself on many occasions alongside the perimeter fence of the concentration camp, where he meets a little boy called Shmuel. What he discovers about Shmuel, who is the boy in the striped pyjamas of the title, the first thing they discover is that they've got the same birthday, and that's really kind of surprising to both of them, and it unites them in a way. But for the reader, I think what it really reinforces is the similarities between them, and that the only reason that they have such different lives is because of the sort of brutalization of Shmuel and people like him by the regime. And it's not something that that Bruno can understand at all. For instance, he talks about he compares their train journeys, and when Shmuel says that they were in a train without any windows and only had one door, Bruno sort of says, "Well, that can't be right. You mustn't have looked properly. There are definitely two doors." And he says, "It's that the second door is by the buffet car. Did you not see that?" And he can't really understand. He can't appreciate what had happened to Bruno. Neither can Bruno, really. He's only 9 years old too, and he's trying to make sense of what's happened to him as well. So the core of the story is the friendship between these two boys that grows up and develops, and both of their misinterpretations of what's going on around them. So it's really, really interesting book, interesting perspectives in it, and ultimately quite a sad story as well. Nonetheless, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a really good introduction to the history of World War II and the history of what happened in Germany in World War II. If you're interested in that, you could use this book as a starting point, and then go on and read some more history and literature around that topic. So I hope you enjoy that one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.